Hey there retro fans, welcome back to RGF Retro Game Force. And following my video, my game room tour video of 2020, some of you asked me about my Japanese collection for the Sega Saturn. And some of you asked me, why do you prefer to collect Japanese games for the Sega Saturn? And one easy answer is because the Sega Saturn was much more popular in Japan than it was in Europe and in the US regions. But it's more than that, because there are really differences and even more content in some Japanese releases. So today I want to show the differences between releases from Japan, Europe and US. Stay tuned! And starting with a classic, I bring you the US release of Sega Rally for the Sega Saturn. As you can see, the cases in the US were, the jewel cases were looking like this in the US regions. And yeah, these are not the most beautiful cases in the world, and I will say they actually took as inspiration, as reference, the Sega CD cases from the US. So this is Echo the Dolphin for the Sega CD in the US region, and if you look at the cases, they are exactly the same. So they took inspiration from the Sega CD, probably they had it manufactured already with good price, so they take this as a reference, and yeah, they implemented it like that. The issue is that these cases are pretty ugly and they break really easy, if you ask me. And so this is the CD of the game itself, nothing really special. And the manual is also pretty bland, if you ask me. So no colors, big letters, and yeah, and that's it. Some cool paper from the sponsors that participated in Sega Rally, and yeah, that's it. Pretty simple. This one has colors, this one has this silver finish, but that's it. This was Sega Rally for the US regions. So in Japan, they went for the classic CD case that they had for example, for music. That it works pretty well for them. The cover art is already much better than the US release. And in the back, a mention to the arcade Sega Rally Classic Arcade cabinet, which is awesome. So linking both of them, and pretty cool. And if you look inside, we have the CD, also nothing special, but the point is, if you take the CD out, you have this really nice Sega Rally logo, because it's transparent inside of the jewel case. And we have the instruction manual, so look at it, no silver finish here, but look at this inside. It's much nicer than the US release. Colors, screenshots of the game, look at that. So even screenshot of a real rally, really nice stuff. All the tracks, easy, medium and hard and expert, and the cars, and we even have Sonic for the customer service support. Please call Sonic for support. Really awesome. And I will say this is also one of the reasons why the Sega Saturn was not so popular in the US. There's for sure other reasons bigger than this, but if you look at the covers, at the boxes of the games, really bland on the US region, but I have more examples. Now, looking at a true classic, Virtua Fighter 2, again, on the US region, we have the superior 3D arcade fighting game only on the Sega Saturn. And that's it. Big pictures of screenplay, of screens from gameplay, Virtua Stick compatible. But if you look at this CD. What is this? As bland as it can be, now looking at the instruction manual, we can see that Virtua Cop was announced with the Virtua Stunner, the serious player's weapon of choice, the Stunner, huh? And it was a great. So again, this silver finish on the paper, but inside again the same as Sega Rally. Pretty bland, all the moves, all the players, yes, but no colors, boring, additional move lists, whatever, pretty boring. So let's look at the Japanese release. So here we have Virtua Fighter 2 for the Japanese region. Again, a jewel case from a CD as usual, and pretty neat screenshots of the game, but also they put a lot of emphasis into the characters of the game. Look at this CD artwork, awesome stuff. And if we take the CD, you have the moves from the characters in the back. Now looking at the, see if I can take this out without damaging, looking at the instruction manual, careful, that's it, it's out. Looking at the instruction manual, look at this, true colors. This was actually the game running in the background. All the options, everything that the game can do. Look at these nice screens, characters but with colors. The artwork is awesome on the Japanese releases. And you have again Sonic as the customer care support. Call Sonic, should be fast. And yeah, there's some story. I cannot read Japanese, shame. But yeah, pretty cool stuff again from the Japanese game Virtua Fighter 2. Now, looking into a PAL release, early release for the system, Daytona USA, the classic Daytona USA. The cases that they used in the beginning of the lifespan of the Saturn, it was like paper, no plastic, it was like no protection, but yeah, it was very close in terms of design of the compared to the Mega Drive releases, except the case was not protected with this plastic that we had in the Mega Drive / Genesis releases. But this will change with the lifespan of the system. They will change again to put the plastic. I will show it afterwards. And looking at the release inside of the case, big thick manual. This is like brand new. No one reads this stuff, huh? But why it's so thick? Because it has a lot of different languages, starting with English, German, Spanish, whatever, you name it. And for example, in Portugal, we even had a different manual that they will print out without any colors, just print it out and that's it. But pretty simple again, and the CD is also pretty bland and simple, I will say. I like black. So yeah, this was Daytona USA for the PAL region. And now looking at Daytona USA for the Japanese region, also a very early release, of course. And there we have the Hornet car in the front, and really nice screenshots. If you look at these screenshots, it looks arcade perfect, right? And we all know that it was not, but really cool screenshots. And looking inside, it was really also a bit bland, so no transparent case here, but the CD was actually pretty cool. The artwork on the CD was pretty cool. So let's look into the manual. Nothing beats the Japanese manuals of the Saturn releases. Not so superior, but still awesome, right? Now, another US release was one of my favorite games in the Sega Saturn, which is Panzer Dragoon Zwei. And the cover art is pretty cool. I like the dragon, I like the design, and I like that the dragon overlays the Sega Saturn logo here in the case. It's still these clunky jewel cases. I don't know why they choose. Anyhow, I think it was cost somehow because the Sega CD was taking these cases and they just keep using them. But the back of the case, it really sucks if you ask me, because this game is one of the best looking games in the system, and they don't showcase that here whatsoever. And it would deserve a much better description and a much better overview of what the game could offer to you. And it's not doing that at all. It really deserved a better artwork here. So let's look into the instruction manual and the CD, because here we have the CD from the US release from Panzer Dragoon Zwei, and the instruction manual, as usual, pretty bland, nothing really special, and that's it. From a game that is one of the best games for the system. Now, we have Panzer Dragoon Zwei for the Japanese region. Awesome artwork, doesn't show much also, but I like that they choose these screenshots with really special moves that really showcase that this game is offering a lot of graphical fidelity. Looking inside, so it shows really that you start with the kind of a dragon that doesn't fly. I really like this artwork. And if I take out, we have what was in the front cover of the European region, but it's awesome. Look at that. Really nice. And it follows with the instruction manual. So let's look into the instruction manual. Look at that. Some explanation, some prologue. Explanation what you can do in the game. The instruction of the 360 like we had on the US release, but this is much better. The colors are really shining to show this game. Look at this. So what we missed on the PAL and US releases. So this was Panzer Dragoon Zwei. One of the one-to-one fighting games that I really enjoy on the Sega Saturn was Lost Bronx. Lost Bronx is a great looking game, and really nice conversion of the arcade here present on the Sega Saturn. This one is the PAL region. As you can see, there is plastic. Again, they moved to plastic and then the paper inside, which is pretty cool. The back in the PAL regions was not as bad as the US, I will say. Nice screenshots of gameplay, some explanation of it, and the same as we had on the Mega Drive, if you ask me. Now, looking inside, this one is a bit hard to open. So, looking inside, we have the CD, which is, sorry, if you look inside, the CD is pretty sick, right? Really nice printed CD with Lost Bronx and this reddish color, really awesome stuff. And the instruction manual, again, pretty bland, pretty thick because a lot of languages, but that's it. So let's look into the Japanese release. So Lost Bronx for the Japanese region was a dual case because it has 2 CDs inside and a really cool front cover, really awesome back with a lot of screenshots from gameplay and the manga anime characters. If we look inside, we have a not so cool printed CD from the arcade disc, which is the same game as we had on the Japanese, well, sorry, on the PAL region. On the other side, we have the special disc, and this was basically training, special training sessions that you can do. Pretty cool stuff. And let's look at into the manual. So pretty Japanese style characters, but if you look inside, we have really cool, again, manual. Nothing compared to the PAL and US releases. So we have all the characters, story, pretty sick, pretty awesome stuff that, again, we didn't get in our releases. To be fair, when the time was passing and Lost Bronx was, I'll say, one of the last releases to get in the US and European regions, they were still putting a lot of effort on the Japanese, for the Japanese customers, because they were buying Saturn and the system was still selling, but not on the PAL and PAL and US releases. We have also this nice, as usual, transparent back when the CD is, sorry, a lot of reflex, but yeah, pretty cool stuff. Love Lost Bronx, but I have it for 2 regions because, yeah, I love the game. And now, to finish the video, I will show you 3 games released in Japan that had really cool artwork and really cool extras that we didn't get in other regions. And even some games were not even released in other regions. So we have here Burning Rangers. Burning Rangers is a great game, one of the last games to be released, at least outside of Japan. And yeah, we have the game, the manual that I'll show afterwards, but we had a cool bonus. We had a very small CD with the soundtrack. And yeah, the soundtrack of Burning Rangers is pretty awesome. So really cool bonus. Oh, this is something that the Japanese games always bring, is another spine, so you can put another spine into your game if you want. And we have the, again, really nice instruction manual. Sonic still supporting the Saturn, and yeah, pretty cool stuff, right? This Burning Rangers was released in the PAL and the US regions, but we didn't get the special audio CD, which is kind of a shame, right? So So Gundam Mobile Suit was yeah, kind of very specific to Japan. Even if it went out of Japan, it was not so let's say popular. But I'm showing this because this is all in paper, so it brings kind of a book inside. And look at that, how cool is that, huh? So the manual and the game was kind of together. It's kind of a book that has a game inside. So that's why I'm showing you, because it's actually pretty different and pretty cool, but again, only in Japan. For last, I have a Sega Ages releases from the Phantasy Star collection, which are basically the Mega Drive games converted to the Sega Saturn. And it's a really nice collection, and I will show you the extras that this game came with. So opening the game or the case, we have the game itself, the CD to play the game, or the games in this case. Cool, huh? And we have some goodies. So we have a very thick manual that and some publicity for some games. Sakura Wars, I have this game also, Sakura Wars, and some other games to be released for the Saturn. Pretty cool. The manual is black and white like we get from all of the regions, right? But it's pretty big and only in Japanese, so there's a lot of material to read in this manual. They came with maps for all the games. Phantasy Star 3 with the characters and what specials and stuff. Now we have Phantasy Star, Sega logo, and the islands of the game. And last but not least, we have, as you can expect, the Phantasy Star 2 map. And this is awesome. So guys, as you can see, the Japanese library, the Japanese public, the Sega Saturn owners in Japan, they were treated with a bit more, let's say, I don't want to say respect, but they were treated a bit better from Sega and the publishers. So that's why, if you ask me, I always like to get the games from the Japanese region. Of course, there's this language barrier, but honestly, you can just use burn versions of the games to play the regions that you prefer, but the original copy that you have on your library is from Japan. This is what I do. Of course, I have some duplicates, as you could see here on this video, but again, there are some exceptions of games, but majority of them, they were nicer on the Japanese releases. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe to the channel, and as usual, until the next video, take care and bye bye.